Mark Horner, EagleNova.com, with my partner Christian Sasse. And Christian, how are things in beautiful White Rock, British Columbia tonight?
Oh my goodness, Mark, we were very lucky. We had a lovely day full of sunshine for once, okay?
So that tells me
Wonderful.
you were probably out photographing eagles.
Yeah, I mean, this is a golden opportunity. I actually took the day off. It was great. At the moment, we have a lot of eagles. I think in Boundary Bay today, we did an eagle count about 730 in total. That's quite a lot.
Okay. Well, before we go anywhere further, let's talk about that eagle over your shoulder. I presume it's above a fireplace or something. That is a magnificent picture. This is one of your photos, obviously.
Yeah, that's one of my photos. I had it at an exhibition. That was actually taken directly at our beach in Boundary Bay. Yeah.
So that people who aren't familiar with where you live, about how far away would that be from your front door?
Oh, from my front door, that's about half a mile.
All right. Um, let's talk about the photograph that you have on your Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Sasse photo.
Right.
You talked about, okay, it's a beautiful shot, and you said it's actually the result of putting at least two shots together where you did stacking. And so in one photo, you're focusing on one area, and in another photo, you're focusing on another area. Then you're merging those two images. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually very funny. It's very, sometimes you have incredibly tolerant eagles. It is like that. And if you're very careful, you approach them very carefully, you can have tolerant eagles. And was very lucky I had a tolerant eagle today. I just came across one. And it was actually a 5 to 6 year old, because you can still see, when they don't turn completely white yet, they still have blackish feathers. This one was a very curious one, and looking at me, and I was so close that I had to do manual focus, which is incredible. I had to switch off my autofocus. I was holding this, leaning it against a rock actually, and doing manual focus, which is incredibly difficult with a large lens. And I noticed when I was, the bird wasn't particularly worried about me, always looking away. So when the bird looks to the side, you notice like my nose is now looking to the side. You're all in one plane, so it's very easy to focus. But as soon as I look at the camera, and as you can imagine, the beak being very long, you have a big problem. That's a depth of field. And especially with a large lens being so close, your depth of field is incredibly shallow. That gives you a problem, and you can see it in the lens. So what I did is I first focused on the eye quickly, then turned the camera right on and focused on the beak, took the shots maybe in less than a second succession. And later what you do is you go into Photoshop, and what you do is you take the beak from the one image and superimpose it on the other, and they match perfectly because the lighting and everything is identical. It's very easy to do. Hardly anybody does it, to my surprise. I've never seen anybody do it on a bird. It's commonly done in HDR, technology, and that's all I did, and it's the result is fabulous because you get an incredible depth of field. And actually, if I blew up the image, you would see incredible details. I haven't even done that.
Where was that photo taken?
That's a Boundary Bay, close by.
And I'm sorry,
it's a few miles away from the house.
I'm sorry if you already said so, but when was it taken?
Today. That's this morning.
Oh my gosh. And that's pretty much the way you continue to operate. A lot of what we see on your Facebook page is something that's basically very fresh, right?
Well, my thrill that I have is I always think, what is the best shot that I can give to people on Facebook? That's really what I believe. I really want to give them something. So all the time I work at my best, and it really is inspiring because I don't want to disappoint myself. I don't want to disappoint anyone. So I really go home, and out of 1,000 images, I select one or two which are the best, and those are the ones I actually post. So unlike many others, I really post the best I have.
Let's talk about where you've recently been. First of all, let's go back to November, just last month, and you were in Haines, Alaska. That was your first trip to Haines, if I'm not mistaken, and something.
Well, that was a few weeks ago. Yeah, that was a marvelous trip, actually. It's more about the photographers you meet. Of course, it's a very small group. You meet very special people. Haines is a fantastic place. It's absolutely. Alaska is really, really special. We first went to Juneau, and it has this beautiful glacier, which I loved. I took a few eagle shots there, and then we came to Haines. It was very rainy, which is unusual for the time. It usually snows then. And the water levels were fairly high, but we experienced that all over British Columbia and Alaska, actually. But still, we saw a great number of eagles, and they are not as skittish, so they don't fly off so quickly, and you can get fairly close. I had a wonderful time.
And a lot of people may not know this, but this was actually also your honeymoon. By the way, congratulations once again on your wedding. But you and your bride, your wonderful wife Rosanna, this was her. She accompanied you obviously on this trip. This was a honeymoon as well as a wonderful celebration of eagles.
Well, I think her tolerance is amazing because I mean she likes eagles, but to be obsessed like me, I don't know how you can cope with anyone. So I think she's very nice. She's very tolerant because actually, apart from eagle photography, there's very little you could do in that place.
Very, very, very good of Rosanna to go with you on that. Will she be going back?
No.
Okay, it speaks volume.
Next year I'm going on my own, I guess, unless I find someone who can tolerate
Well,
this.
closer to home, you crossed the border going southward this time, and you were near Bellingham, and you showed a wonderful image of an eagle in flight. That was just a day or two ago.
Well, this is amazing. I mean, I have such a library. I have about 180,000 pictures, which is not even much, but I'm talking about maybe 10% of those are usable or high quality, maybe 1 to 2,000. And I've actually only shown a fraction of that on Facebook because I simply don't want to, overdo it. But I took amazing images. What I liked so much in Bellingham, which I did not, or in the area of Bellingham, which I did not expect, is although the water levels were high, just like in British Columbia, what we had in Harrison Mills, there was a lot of sandstone on the banks, and there were a lot of chum salmon carcasses, huge carcasses on the sandbanks, and the eagles accumulate in quite a few places there. And my goodness, you had the most wonderful fights, and so all you had to do is watch and film. It was absolutely stunning, really stunning.
You recently established contact with somebody who was looking across the U.S. and perhaps obviously points elsewhere in hopes of finding certain images of bald eagles in video, actually, in a variety of situations, flying, perched in trees, and so forth.
Yes.
You've connected with that person, and this helped catch me up to speed because I know you were busy for this very reason today, and I'm looking forward to a bit of show and tell with you because I know you have some gear nearby.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because usually what I have a lot of good video footage, all HD footage, is of eagles perched in trees, eagles taking off, eagles in nests, and so on and so on. But they were looking for good flight images, and good flight images are very difficult to take because you have to leave the eagles centered all the time. They don't like, they don't like the cameras to shake and so on. So what I did is I built a special type of gear to do this, and I'll just show you what I did. One sec. So this is it. Oh, it's quite heavy, but it's supposed to be heavy. It's like a real cameraman, okay? So you're like a real cameraman. I basically built this for $100. I saw it somewhere on the internet, bought that, modified it a bit, put a weight on the back to balance it, and I got a 200 millimeter lens there and an eyepiece, okay? So now I have a sturdy setup and I can actually bend, and you have to do quite a bit of yoga here when you follow an eagle, okay? You have to focus, and then you have to turn gently, but that gives you, quite a steady way of following eagles in flights, which, by the way, is not easy, as many know. And you have to keep the eagle in focus. You have to have a lot of light, because if you have a lot of light, you can put the aperture right down to f20. Gives you an incredible depth of field. I have a 200 millimeter lens on that. And actually, that way I was able to follow, eagles flying in pairs, fighting, taking off, doing all kinds of wonderful acrobatics today. And this gear certainly pays off, and it's very simple. You don't need a few $1,000 gear. This is just $100, build it yourself with a very good camera.
And was this primarily aimed at shooting video, using the video function on your camera?
Yes, that's correct. That's the camera I'm using is a Nikon D800 HD. You can use any good DSLR, but the advantage of using a DSLR is really that you can use very good lenses, and you've got a very good sensor.
And is this what you were doing
That's
today?
what I was doing today. And then I was also carrying my 800 millimeter lens, and because I didn't have a tripod because I forgot it, I actually shot that eagle double by leaning on a rock and, balancing. So sometimes you do crazy things. And my goodness, I was so sore that I couldn't move my arm anymore from all this because it takes a lot of physical effort, and I'm getting older, to stay fit.
Well, I tell you what, obviously, bald eagle lovers are loving Sasse Photo, especially on Facebook. And I know you have sassephoto.com, but on Facebook, you're over 83,500 fans, I think, at last check. What's it been like this past year just to see the people come and not only just take a look at, but stay and return, and even many of them leaving comments and sharing your work? That must be very satisfying.
Well, of course, I'm very grateful. I'm really grateful, and I wish everybody who visits Sasse Photo, who visits Eagle Nova, of the Hancock Wildlife Foundation, and so on. I wish them a very happy new year, and I've got a big surprise waiting for them in 2015. So watch this space.
Will it be early in the year?
Yes, it'll be fairly soon. I still have to do a few website modifications. Just has to be perfect, but it'll be fairly soon, maybe in 2-3 weeks, I guess. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. We look forward to that. Thank you very much, Christian. And I tell you what do you say we do this somewhat regularly, either recording these Skype interviews via video or at least doing some audio where we do a brief interview and see where you've been, what you're looking at, maybe share a few stories and bring that to the people who enjoy your images.
I'd love to do that. I think I have many exciting surprises for myself and for everybody. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, Christian. Thank you. Okay, thanks.